Welcome to Stop Dating Losers, the only show that tells you the real truth about modern day relationships. Let us begin. All right. Which kind of comment do we have right here? Why has casual dating become so normalized? Like, what are you even doing? Making a bunch of friends with benefits? What is the end goal? It doesn't seem like it would lead to anything serious. Can we normalize dating with intention and genuine interest in a real partnership? Okay. Well, casual dating. That's a combination of words that shouldn't go together. Now, should they? If you're looking for anything serious, number one, stop dating and start befriending. That's the first tip I'll give you, which nobody else will tell you. And second of all, casual? No, that should not exist. Casual dating. But that's what you're complaining about. Honestly, probably people who don't take trying to find someone that serious and just want to go mess around with people. So become normalized. I think such a lack of seriousness in the dating realm is already normalized. It has been normalized for quite a long time now. Who knows? Maybe a couple of decades. Maybe you're just now running into it and realizing just how much of a mass problem it really is. Hence the reason for this show even existing. So let's see what she's complaining about here. Friends with benefits. Yes, everybody's messing around. Nobody knows what real love is. They pretend they think that they know. But if everybody knew, then I wouldn't have wrote my book or created a beautiful video to teach you exactly what love requires in order for you to succeed in a successful lifelong relationship. So with that said, what do you mean the end goal? The end goal is to get into each other's pants. That's the game that they're playing with casual dating. And normalized has been normalized. Friends with benefits, F buddies, you name it. It's just nothing serious, isn't it? It doesn't seem like it would lead to any... Of course it won't. So I think we're done with this comment here. Because if you want genuine interest in a real partnership, a potential lifelong relationship, then you got to get yourself out of the dating realm. And that's what I tell everybody. Start just getting to know another person from the opposite sex. How about that? Take things way slower, because the more you rush, the more you're going to trip all over yourself and each other. All right, so second comment here. You're not going to change them. You're just going to end up in therapy for longer. You get to make a choice. Maybe that choice is telling them to F off. Okay? So I assume you're talking about people who you know you can't change no matter how long you're with them. That's most likely what she's referring to here. So whether you're married to them or going out with them or you're just getting to know them, maybe your plan is to change them for the better. Well, here's the deal. They have to change for the better. But if they don't, because that's what a relationship is, you guys have to both change for the better to accommodate each other's needs and wants, fantasies, you name it. Everything has to be checked off. So with these mediocre relationships where you're hoping that your partner will change for the better and it never happens, yep, you're going to fail and you're going to end up in therapy, as she says, for longer if you even go take therapy, mental therapy or whatnot. So yeah, she's saying maybe that choice is telling them to F off. Well, in the very beginning, so why get into a world of problems if you already know it's going to be a big problem? Trying to get them to change. It's never going to happen. So let's go ahead and move on. Yeah, so she's right. All right, so the future for most modern women. I regret belittling men at 63. I've ended up alone. Well, that's what happens when you belittle men, right? You end up alone, living alone with the cat, maybe, if the cat likes you. And maybe some toys in the bedroom, if you're still feeling a little bit spicy. I had always imagined I would end up married with 2 wonderful children and living in a house in the countryside. I have paid a hefty price for my so-called liberation. Yeah, it is a hefty price. A very, very deep price to pay. So at 63... Well, you'd be surprised because there's a lot of men running the opposite way too, just like this 63-year-old who lives in permanent regret because it's too little too late. It's way too late. Unless she still looks hot, she still has a lot of energy in the tank. I highly doubt it. I mean, sure, there's women who are still acting like they're in their 20s while they're 60. I've seen it. They have the potential. But is a common 60-year-old woman going to jump like a spring and, start behaving just like a 20-year-old, young, enthusiastic, and full of energy? No, most likely they're going to be tired, irritated all the time. They give up on life. They give up on love. They don't believe happiness is achievable, blah, 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 blah. And then they end up in a grave, unfortunately. Very rarely does a 60-something-year-old have what it takes to change things or to improve things. But I will say that is your last chance. That is your, just, no pun intended, your dead last chance right there to really bring out the best in you and to get what you've always wanted. Because age is just a number if you have the right attitude. But age is not just a number when you have a negative attitude, understand? So the same thing could be said about men, unfortunately, because there's a lot of men behaving just like that. They end up 60-something, 50-something, and with full of regret because, oh, women are just a bunch of this. There are no good women, blah, 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 blah. You just wasted decades of your life moaning, groaning, and complaining just because there was a crowd around you cheering you on. Yeah, women are this. You're no better than that regretful 63-year-old, understand? Because there are men and women both wasting their lives away, all scared and quiet, afraid to talk about relationships, afraid to open up, afraid to do what they really want to do in the realm of love. And it's just fear will paralyze them until they end up full of regret and maybe even on that deathbed, full of regret, as most people are. I should have done this. I could have done that. Maybe if I would have asked for help. Maybe if I would have tried new things, been more daring, blah, 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 blah. Too little, too late, too bad. It's over. And that's just the way life goes. So, for the sake of your own happiness, you better get started right now, no matter what age you are, if you still feel like you have a chance to be successful in love. I try to make it easy for people. I really do. You'll find everything you need on my website. Trust me. You just got to take the dive. Go check it out. All right, so the next comment we have here, forget actual date struggles. Literally finding someone to go on a date with is ridiculously hard as a man. Oh, well, he's a man. Okay. Women are absolutely drowning in choice, wading through tens, hundreds, and even thousands of likes on apps. Okay, well, that's an assumption. That's not exactly accurate. That's what you think. Maybe the hot chicks, but they're most likely going through a bunch of garbage men, a bunch of simpletons, right? That's just how it is, and vice versa. Men who aren't top 20%. What is top 20%? How much you have in your bank account and how hot you look? You guys got to get your heads out of that, that foolish little immature category there. Like, oh, I'm part of the... What if you're 21%? What if you're 30%? Does it really matter? There's a lot of men who think so little of themselves. Oh, I'm not part of the 20%, so I guess I'm out of luck. I'm just going to go live alone and play video games and watch movies for the rest of my sad, miserable, lonely life. Wow. Well, that is a loser mentality, isn't it? How about you get yourself out there and stop thinking that you're not part of the 20%, so I can't have success, because you're just wasting your life away with that mentality, understand? My goodness, you guys, that's all you guys care about. The people who think like this, likes, fame, status. Even rich people say it's all about status. No, it's not. I mean, if you want a bunch of loser women to sift through, to have to filter through, it's like trying to find gold in a desert. Good luck with that. If you know where to look, great. But do you really want to go through all that painstaking work just to find little crumbs of gold here and there? It's not a golden statue like you deserve. So instead of looking underground in the worst case scenario, why don't you know how to look in the first place? Then it doesn't matter where you look. If you know how to look, eventually you'll find the one for you. But you can't if you just hide yourself in your little man cave Or if you have negative attitudes like this, like, well, I'm not part of the 20%. This is the loser's mentality, you know? So, anyways, let's continue here. If I'm a 5 for looks, there we go with the rating. This is what immature, naive males do. And even women do this too. They're guilty of it as well. Getting a like from another 5. What are you? Oh my goodness. No wonder you're alone. No wonder it's so ridiculously hard for you to find somebody. Because look at your mentality. It's garbage. It's a loser's mentality. Here you are with these fictional ratings. How do you even rate yourself? This is not the right attitude. Yes, higher grade with career and personality. But women don't care. They have 50 other guys to talk to. Who cares? You don't want those types of women. 10.5 years, no dates. Is that something to be proud of? That means you're a loser. You're losing out on life. You're not winning. If you were winning, you would already have a beautiful woman by your side who loves you with all of her heart and soul every single day. And she never gets tired of telling you how much she loves you. That's a winner. You're losing. You're a loser. I can't congratulate you, but you can turn things around if you have the right mentality. But no, why do you think it's ridiculously hard? See, the guys who lose, and even the women who lose in the whole dating realm, like, oh, I can't find anybody. Take a look in the mirror, because it's about time to look at yourself. You're the problem. You ever thought of it that way? Because all you're doing is complaining. That's not going to get you anywhere. If all you do is stare at the mirror and complain and shout into the void, into the world, on social media especially, online and offline, yeah, men and women suck, then you're part of the problem, aren't you? Anybody can complain. I don't care what kind of failed relationship you had. Anybody can do that. That's cheap. That's a cheap person's game right there. It's for losers, that type of mentality. Anybody can moan and groan. Like, grow up, right? Remember when wanting to attract a husband was a natural part of life? Normal? The standard? Now you are a pick-me for caring about what men think. Unfortunately. You know, and that's the problem with men. They call you a pick-me because you care about men's feelings. Now, granted, there really are fake pick-me's, but the word pick-me really shouldn't exist. I think probably it's a pretty interesting creative word for a thing to say for women who are trying too hard, who are actually really in reality not what they present themselves to be. That would be a pick-me, because they just want to get chosen. But you'd be surprised, all those pick-me's are most likely still alone, or they failed in a relationship or two. They're no better than the toxic women who play other types of mind games. But no, I would lay off the term pick-me, and really just, she already knows what to do here. You have to find a mature man, and unfortunately there's a lot of immature men out there who are now, they're playing feminism 2.0. They're against women no matter what kind of woman you are, you know? And it's very immature. So there's immature women and immature men. How do you think that's going to end? Well, with the immature men and women still living alone and miserable, and still whining and complaining every single day, hoping others will agree with them, and then they get together and all agree, and then they're all a bunch of losers. And then, when they're tired of self-pleasuring, they go out on a date just to use each other for intimate reasons. But then they go back home and say, I don't need men, I don't need women. I mean, they're fooling themselves. The first person they lie to are themselves. So if you want to be a winner at life, you better change your mind around. You better wise up. And that's as far as I'm going to go with those 5 comments. So if you have a comment that you would like me to go over on this show, put it down in the comment section down below. This has been Coach Ben's Stop Dating Losers. Much love, everybody.